everyone in Korea right now is concerned about a typhoon, but we are not. We have made it to the studio. This is the GSL Up and Down matches for 2012 Season 4. I am Wolf, with me is Kaldor, and we are going to get things started.
We fought through wind and the weather, and nothing could keep us away from the studio today.
Yeah, man. We just came through here. We actually, I took a kite here. I was able to actually control the wind with really good precision to fly all the way to the studio.
I did airbending. That was a little bit easier.
Wow, yeah, he's quite good at that. He is the last airbender, actually. Notice he has the same hairstyle as the previous one.
Exactly.
He has to get his little arrow covered up by the makeup ladies every day.
My middle name is An.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's quite impressive.
It's actually not as bad as I thought. I mean, the wind is pretty nasty and it's raining a little bit, but so far I think the part in, Mukdong dodged the worst of the typhoon.
Yeah, some parts of Seoul got worse than others, especially on the edges closer to the coast, but everything here is pretty good. People putting tape and newspapers on the windows, but everything is okay.
Some of the stores are closed and everything. It could still get a little bit rough, but right now, so far, everything was kind of alright.
Yeah.
But you can really tell that it's currently a huge topic in Korea. The studio today is, pretty empty compared to what we're used to, and at the same time, of course, also, all the streets are completely deserted. Yeah. There's no one.
Yeah, that's very true. I went to a cafe actually with you earlier. There was no one in there as well, and all my friends, actually, all my Korean friends, all their schools, their work, for the most part, canceled. So everyone's just kind of chilling out. So probably a lot of Koreans watching the broadcast right now because they got nothing else to do.
And I hope that you watched yesterday's broadcast. Here are our results. We had two players advance. It was Mana and Bomber. Both of those, the Terran and the Protoss, they were able to get into Code S, whereas Keen Hyun and Jakji find themselves in Code A now.
Yeah, kind of a disappointing performance by Jakji yesterday, having a little bit of misfortune with some of the build orders he chose, but at the end of the day, he fell 0-3. Pretty surprising result, actually, for most people, I would say. And Mana, real big story coming through. Now, here are today's matches. Sniper, Puzzle, GuMiho, Ace, and Hack. Thorazane decided to drop out for personal reasons, so he will not be participating today.
Exactly. He's been sick for a long time, and especially in the US it really showed, so he could not prepare, and he still doesn't feel well. So I really hope that he gets well soon, but on the other hand, now we have those 5 players that are trying to get into Code S today. 1 Zerg player, we have how many Terrans? 2 and 2 Pros.
2 Terrans and 2 Pros, so Zerg being the minority here. Sniper, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing how he is going to do, because Sniper's the type of player who's been around for a while, and I feel like he's always looking a little bit more refined every time I see him.
Yeah, that's really true, so we might find out if he is able to get into Code S today. Actually, we will. And that is our first map. We have actually Sniper against GuMiho.
Do you think? I think GuMiho, he got a haircut for sure, but I think he's losing a little bit of weight, man.
Yeah, I think you're right. Is that a towel or is that some kind of weird...
It's like a sock puppet? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a sock puppet. Oh, no, it's a towel. Okay. There you go.
He's a towel Terran, but...
for a reason.
Yeah.
Well, so starting things off with a Zerg versus Terran would actually blindsides me a little bit, because I was told that Ace versus Hack is our opening match, but I think that's probably the second or the third. Right now we are focusing on game number 1 in Tiga Shipyard. Zerg versus Terran, you have the Up and Downs, Group B, Sniper versus GuMiho.
Well,
I guess we don't have intro. Alright guys, here we go. We have our Zerg player starting for Team MVP. To the left side of the map, it's the Zerg in red, and he calls himself
MVP Sniper.
Sniper. Able to take out some foreign Protosses in his career as well.
And he's up against the Terran player in his first match. To the right side of the map, in blue, we have the StarTale player. 1 StarTale player. Oops.
FXO GuMiho.
Why am I coming up with StarTale? Oh yeah, because I thought we have Ace against Hack the first match. Yep, so I really have to talk with production there. They kind of tricked me.
They threw you a curveball, man. They tricked you indeed.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Towel Terran nonetheless, and something interesting to note about his play here, firstly, is that he's not going to wall against a Zerg player, which obviously can be walled later, and most Zerg players do not go for early pools, but he does make his depot behind the mineral line.
Just one thing, guys, in case you're wondering why I actually expect Ace versus Hack to be the first game. They are both starting for the StarTale team, and in order to make sure that the players can't cheat. There is nothing that people could do in order to lose a game on purpose to make the teammate being in a better position or whatever. Usually these games are played first, but we had a little bit of rescheduling today because Thorzane is of course not able to participate in the group today, so the matches have been rearranged, but you can expect Ace versus Hack to be game number 2 or number 3, so that there's guaranteed that there is no problem at all, that nothing conflicts in the group later on.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And so I think that'll probably be our second match. May have had some, they may have expected a different order, weren't set up correctly when they got the studio.
Exactly.
But, so drone comes in here, and this is again with no wall. It's very easy for the drone to do.
At the same time, Sniper finds himself here in a matchup that he really doesn't like all too much. He has a 43% win ratio, which also tells that this is his worst matchup of all of them. He played really tough opponents in the past. He actually out of win against Alive in the GSL season. He was also able to beat Rain. So in the Team League, he has pretty good results against Terran. We'll find out if he can actually pull this off in the individual league today as well. And I don't think we have to say too much about GuMiho. He might not have been as successful as we thought he would be in the WCS Korea, but this guy is pretty good, and you all know it, of course.
Yeah, you know, he looked good in WCS, but he didn't look as dominant as he did, for example, in the GSTL finals. But he is going to get away with his command center. It's a little bit delayed, though, by Sniper's drone, and Sniper knows everything.
The player who actually made sure that GuMiho was not part of the WCS Korea anymore was Effort, and Effort being a Zerg player. So this is something that well, Sniper definitely watched these games. He definitely checked the VODs and had a good look at them and looked at what exactly Effort was doing in these games. But right now we're on Antigua Shipyard, and this will give GuMiho a little bit of an edge.
Yeah. Something to think about as well for Sniper being the only Zerg player in the group means that he only has to prepare for 2 additional matchups, whereas the other players will have to at least have 1 build against Zerg. And Sniper here just playing this normal game so far. No gas early from him. You can see GuMiho going on the hunt for Overlords, not quite able to find them.
Look at GuMiho, by the way. I think he actually drank a little bit too much of Hot 6 today. He's bouncing in his chair like crazy. This guy just doesn't stand still.
Yeah, he really is, and he's going for a fast third command center before his gases. He is taking a big risk here. We've seen a lot of players die too early, you know, gas play from the Zerg, some sort of baneling aggression, Roach baneling together, or simply just Roach pressure can really do a lot of damage to you if you do play this risky like this. But GuMiho is actually going to lose control of this watchtower if he does not micro his Marines early, but does decide to do so.
With the performance that we've seen out of GuMiho in the past few weeks, there is of course the chance that Sniper is trying to go for an all-inish build and just tries to end these games quickly. He knows that he's the underdog in this matchup. He's of course a pretty good player, but against GuMiho that's always a really tough thing. So right now Sniper with a gas number 1 building just now, and GuMiho on the other hand, as Wolf already pointed out, the 3rd command center, therefore his tech is a little bit delayed, but the factory is now already on its way, and we'll find out what exactly he's going to do. If he tries to go for Hellions and maybe a transition into Banshees, or if he plays it safe and gets at least a few Marauders or even Siege Tanks out early on to make sure that Banelings and Roaches are not an issue.
Yeah, I love the amount of pressure that's being put on by both players here at the Watchtower. You can see how important it is to hold that and how much both players are really committing to making sure they can have that and how careful they are. And we have seen a new recent fast siege tank play from a lot of Terran players. I don't think that's what we're going to see from GuMiho today. He is adding an additional barracks actually. And Sniper has already taken one of his gases. He's getting the second one. His worker count now at 36, and 4 more drones are started.
He also gets his 3rd base now, and with the harvester count that he currently has already at 43, we can make sure there won't be any kind of Roach baneling aggression. There comes the double evolution chamber, so he really wants to go for circling heavy style, and look at GuMiho here. He's going for double Stargate, loving it.
Yeah, this is actually quite weird. I feel like I've seen GuMiho do this one time before, but the specific game does not come to mind. This can be really scary though if you do not prepare. It could be Banshees, it could be all sorts of different things, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Banshees. And if you do not prepare for a build like this, it becomes very difficult to hold. How many queens are on the map for Sniper? Right now he's sticking with just 4, did not go for the 6 queen build, and that's going to make this slightly more difficult to hold as well. And GuMiho has other units to put pressure on with. He's got his siege tank production about to start. He's got triple barracks. He's rallying them across the map. He's going to continue pressuring. He wants to damage the queens as much as possible, and it is going to be double Banshees as the Starports did get double tech labs coming out. It's not like he's going to try to do one of these weird Viking builds from back in forever ago.
This is so crazy, and I love it because it's something that we haven't seen in ages. This is a strategy that has been basically off the radar for like an eternity. Occasionally it pops up every now and then, but it's definitely not something that you will expect as a Zerg player. And now with the Sniper's build that he has used so far, these Banshees, if not scouted, can actually do a ton of damage. And it's not only about finishing the game. This isn't an all-in by any means. This is just him putting on a lot of pressure, going for a very, very sneaky build. And this would also help him to defend against aggression, because there's nothing that Sniper can do right now that will pressure GuMiho in the air.
And people are really starting to figure out that this Banshee play, we saw MVP actually specifically really keep a lot of Banshees in his composition. This type of Banshee play, not exactly like this, but just having Banshees in your composition can be quite deadly against a Zerg player who decides to skip Mutalisk entirely. Now the Lair is finishing up here for Sniper, and with the upgrades he's chosen, it's likely going to be an Infestation pit going down here fairly quickly. He's adding 2 additional gases. Cloak is almost done. The Ling pressure is actually really working out for Sniper quite a bit as he picks off a Hellion. He's keeping GuMiho back, but he still does not know about the Banshees yet. They've actually avoided his eye.
GuMiho had a little bit of a problem. He could not really start his next set of Banshees immediately. He has, of course, also the Siege Tanks, and this will help him a lot. The Banshees have been spotted right now, and there comes the Spire, which is a really good choice now for Sniper, but it's already a little bit too late. Those Banshees don't face any threat at all, and with 2 of them already being present, they can just one-hit drones, and they do exactly this.
Until that Carapace upgrade finished, which he did just now. He can 2-shot those. And he's starting to go to work here on these drones. In fact, Queen's pushing him back, and GuMiho will have the 3rd and 4th Banshee very soon, but like you said, his production was stifled a little bit, and this hurts him quite a bit. He actually needs to control these. He loses a Banshee, almost losing a 2nd one as well.
And that's pretty bad. You are not supposed to lose a Banshee if you really want to go for this, especially when you try to go for a really Banshee-heavy style that forces your opponent to immediately, build Swarcores, get additional Queens, and to play on the defensive. You want to have those 4, then you can also take down buildings. But now we have GuMiho actually with double command center, and he's going straight into mech with the first Thor being produced, even before the Spire is done, and a Raven. This will help him so much against the Mutalisks. But at this point in time, double command center, this is crazy.
Yeah, this is actually quite crazy. He's meching after this. This is actually a build that I've watched Karn execute several times. He really likes to add double starport early on, and actually kind of in the exact same way that GuMiho is doing now. Then you add the Ravens in as well, so that can help you not only against Queens, but more importantly against Mutalisks, and you can start to push that creep back. This is a pretty cool build, and one that's quite rare to see at the pro level, and in a tournament like this. He's going to pick off another Queen, but the creep spread for Sniper is still continuing, and it's continuing pretty fast. He has to use scans if he wants to actually clean up those tumors, or he needs to bring the Raven with him.
It's actually a pretty funny composition and situation in the game that we currently see. Sniper is deciding not to go for this late game where we have normally the Ultralists with Infestors and Zerglings, but he's going for the strong mid-game composition with +2/+2, with Zerglings, Banelings and Mutalisks, whereas he's facing now GuMiho's mech army. And the mech army is not as strong yet as this will be later on, because, I don't even know why he went for the assault mode here. That doesn't help him at all, but well, he tried. So he's taking a 4th base, Sniper that is, very early. GuMiho, on the other hand, is now adding 2 additional factories, and he is going to have a very, very strong army here, so he can push out, and Sniper does not really have the answer to it, but GuMiho needs Blue Flame if he wants to deal with the Zerglings.
Yeah, he is going to need Blue Flame research. His upgrades are, of course, behind the Zergs, but these are mech upgrades, so that's usually the case. Tries the Magic Box to Thor here, but there's a turret nearby as well. No repairing SCVs makes this pretty hard for him to engage. The point defense drone, though, saves the day, and that's exactly why this Raven supplementary unit in this army is so important when you try to go for this mech composition late like this.
And this is also what I mentioned earlier. He does not really have this force to deal with it, but now with the additional Thors entering the game and also having the Vikings to control a little bit more the range of the Mutalisks helps him so much. And here comes Blue Flame. Everything that he needs. He has a very, very scary army composition, and it will be hard for Sniper to deal with that.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard, and the Vikings are going to help deal with the small force of Muse. Muse are not upgraded, of course. He's going to stop producing those altogether, but he's actually going for this big attack, and I'm not sure if GuMiho actually has enough, even with the Cloaked Banshees. There's just so much on the ground here.
Blue Flame is not done yet, and this is the big problem that GuMiho faces. He doesn't really have the upgrade to keep those Banelings and Zerglings at bay. He's trying to rely on the units that he has. The Banshee's helping a lot, but there is so much for Sniper. He's moving in, but he's losing his entire army right now.
Yeah. Even the Marines actually help out a little bit in the defense. It looks like he will barely clean up the mutas. Third base is defended as well. Sniper, you know, he traded pretty well here. The thing is, it's so hard for a player who's going for this type of mech composition to remax, whereas the Zerg has a lot better production.
Exactly. GuMiho lost all these really expensive tech units, and this is a problem. And Sniper also prepared. He transitioned into a Roach Warren, and the Roaches, these are going to give GuMiho a huge headache because he doesn't really have a lot that he can use against the Roach composition of Sniper. The Hive Tech is also on its way, and instead of just building additional muralists, Sniper decides to go for Corruptors, which is actually a really good choice to take down those few Banshees that we have in the game, and the Thors will now have a much harder time taking down the Corruptors than the Muralists.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And, you know, GuMiho actually had a problem with his buildings in his main base. He had to reposition those. It's actually very important to position your factories in such a way that your units don't get caught, and he was not able to do that. Had to remake a tech lab. Just these little things when you're going for mech can be quite a headache. And a Hellion will sneak around the left side of the map. He wants to know, is he taking any hidden expansions? He sent another one around the right side, which may possibly actually spot this important base to the south.
But not in time, there are already Roaches, and here comes Sniper once again. GuMiho losing this army is now in a position where he's way more defensive than he actually wanted to be. He wanted to push out a little bit earlier, and it shows the creep spread for Sniper is insane. He covers basically the entire map already, and this is crazy. GuMiho is now trying to rely on this 3-base economy, but Sniper with the 4 bases being in a good spot here, even takes the 5th already. And his upgrades, plus 300 sway, greater spire. So GuMiho has a strong army, but Sniper, if he plays this very cautiously, will have the upper hand.
Yeah, it's hard for GuMiho to actually use this army right now with the position that Sniper has at the top of this ramp. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he started adding spine crawlers around the map as well to even slow this down further. Got to be careful about the Banshee fleet though. He's got several Banshees, not 7. I don't know why I almost said 7. And look at how much creep tumors he has to push through. It's insane.
Here comes the army once again. The Banelings trying to take down those Hellions, and they succeed. Now the Corruptors are facing the few remaining Vikings and will take care of all those Banshees, whereas the Roaches are being obliterated by those Thors though. Are there enough of them? Barely. But he doesn't even use his corruption.
Yeah, he doesn't use the corruption, and it looks like GuMiho will barely hold here. But a pretty good trade, again, for Sniper. And even though the point defense drones were down, the Banshees, there's only 4 of them. The Roaches have +2 carapace, so yeah, they cleaned up the Roaches pretty nicely, but they weren't able to do a ton of damage. It took forever. Can't even land this command center quite yet. And it looks like the Queen and Corruptors will finally get out of here. But again, Sniper remaxes with Roaches. They're very easy to make. You just use a little bit of larva for that. They're powerful chief units, whereas GuMiho's army just takes so much longer. It's so much slower. And he still has not dealt with the creep spread yet.
And he's moving in once again. The Hellions now gone. The Zerglings are moving in. The siege tanks in the back are being attacked already by Roaches and Lings, whereas all of those Corruptors are finally taking down the Banshees. GuMiho dropping in supply. So is Sniper, but the Zerg has much better chances of reinforcing in time.
Absolutely. The last of the siege tanks look like they're going to fall here. Just barely not, as another siege tank and another Thor join into the fight. I'd really like to see a better usage of corruption here.
Exactly. That's the one thing that he never used.
Yeah, I mean, he's got so many of these available to him that he definitely could be using it.
It's great against the Thors.
He did, just clicking on these corruptions, he did use it twice, but I think he could have used it on better units because I just wasn't seeing it. But either way, you know, more corruption could have been used. He had a lot available. 3-3 now on the way for GuMiho. But look at his supply. He just really cannot remax the way that Sniper can. He still has not even been able to touch the base to the south, nor the base to the bottom right, and this is a problem.
Sniper now has the opportunity to get Broodlords into the game. He also has the first few Infestors en route. Is moving in once again. We have GuMiho at the right side. He wants to get this planetary, but here come the Corruptors. They actually don't use corruption again. They just focus on this command center, but he will take down the Thors regardless of the corruption spell.
Yeah. And now this base actually may fall as well. He's going to need to repair that. Either way, it's not going to land. Even if he kills it, that's not a big deal with all the extra orbitals GuMiho has. But I mean, he needs another mining base. He needs more production.
Yeah. Denying the 4th base is huge now for Sniper. He is on 5 bases against 3, and he knows that eventually GuMiho will run out of money. And more important, he will run out of gas. This is a composition that GuMiho plays, which requires a lot of gas, and the 4th base at some point is just essential if your opponent is able to trade over and over and over again with you.
Yeah, all of his gases are already starting to get low. He's got less than 1,000 on each of them. 2 additional Ravens coming through. That's 400 gas right there, plus the 3 tanks, plus 3-3 on the way for GuMiho right now. And, you know, that's going to help his composition be stronger. And Sniper, though, has 8 Broodlords on the way. GuMiho has no Vikings, no Viking production. He's really going to struggle to deal with this. The creep is still prevalent on the map. In fact, it can't be pushed any further forward because there's a missile turret and siege tanks.
+3, as mentioned, nearly done, and here come a few Hellions trying to go for a run by, but those 5 bases supply Sniper with everything that he needs in order to just max out another army and throw it against GuMiho's defense. Those Blue Flame Hellions take down a few creep tumors, but that's basically all they can achieve. And here come the air units. There are no Vikings. He just started to build them. The Broodlords now just being in paradise.
Yep, and you know, he added 4 Infestagen just in case of Vikings. I really like that choice. No Neural Parasite on these or anything like that. It's just going to be for possible fungals on those Vikings.
With the ground army that Sniper used earlier, he basically forced GuMiho to overproduce siege tanks and focus less on his stores. Now here come the Corruptors. This is a tech switch that GuMiho did not really anticipate, at least not at this time. So now he's suddenly dealing with an air army that he doesn't have an answer for.
Yeah, he has no way of dealing with this. The siege tanks on the ground are practically useless, as you said. Of course, no Marines, as he has basically all his barracks floating right here to try to tank Corruptor shots. And he's got point defense drones to help slow those Corruptors down, but that's part of the reason why these Infestors are here.
And just putting pressure onto this third is already so successful. If this third dies, then suddenly the income for GuMiho is basically non-existent anymore.
And it does die.
The third is down, GuMiho, and 2 bases facing annihilation here in game number 1 of the Up and Down Group B. The Broodlords move in, the Corruptors take care of the Vikings, and then there's just too much. The army supply being 105 against 73 right now, but the composition, that's basically what it's about here.
About 30 to 40 of that composition is useless. GG!
Sniper defeats GuMiho in game number 1 here. Well done. And yeah, you said earlier already, Sniper is a player that we've seen in the past that seems to play better and better every single time that we have him on camera, and this is true once again. He played really well against his opponent here and is now ahead with 1 win in the group.
Yeah, taking the lead there. Now, the next map actually is going to be
Puzzle versus Ace.
Puzzle versus Ace. Yeah, so they're not doing the team kill first because of Thor's aim.
Exactly. The game between the team kill match, Hack versus Ace, is going to be map number 3 today. So the entire schedule was just changed. The one that I had was the old version, and they just updated me in the middle of the stream. So right now we have Pros versus Protoss.
Yep, Protoss versus Protoss indeed. This is going to be a pretty interesting match. Puzzle playing some PvPs in WCS. We haven't seen Ace in a while. He's been a little bit dormant. And I'm kind of curious to see how his style has changed at all, because PvP is one way to look at it, but I mean, in other ways, I mean, he's going to play a ton of matches today.
Look at Puzzle, he's ready for the Typhoon.
He's ready, man. He's got the Windbreaker jacket on for Slayers.
If the Typhoon hits the studio and the booth, he will be ready. He can play underwater now.
I don't know why they didn't put tape on those booth windows, man. Everyone else has tape on the windows. What's going on? What if there is a Typhoon in the studio? That's a concern. Well, countdown is finishing up here. Ace, it's been a while, man. I cannot wait to see what you've got up your sleeve. Puzzle, top finisher in WCS. We'll see what he has ready for this map. It is Ohana. It's the GSL up and down, so powder and roll. Everybody get back! Everybody get down!